Hey guys, I am back with another video. We're going to be talking about the House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 3. So yeah, for now, let's dive on in. This episode was amazing. And I could summarize this episode in general. We see pretty much Rhaenyra being in this situation now. She has secured the throne and stuff, and we see her struggles of being a queen and the realizes of responsibility to take over what a leader's supposed to. There's just 5 million people going to her left and right, say your grace this, your grace that, just bounded her, and she just feels so overwhelmed and stuff. And yeah, like she has to choose her battle, see if this is the right way to do it or is this the wrong way to do it. She goes back and forth, and being on top of all this craziness with being a leader on top of it, she has this overhead of Aegon is out there somewhere. Aemon's at Harrenhal, her losing her son, and thinking all this in one little bubble. And I get the point is, you have to be strong per se, and just be in so much fear of all this that, and also you have people you will not trust that will stab you in the back if you go a certain way or certain route. And we see that, and she, first of all, she hasn't slept, and just with all that stuff I said, losing her son, losing Jace, she's having hallucinations of him and stuff like that. And you can just tell of the overwhelming of what she's going. But yeah, we see of the opening minute of Daemon come across Omar. I think this is the dude's name. He's sunk into Alicent Hightower, some shape or form. And so I thought it was weird, he surrenders to Daemon because Daemon has Silverwing and Vomitor and with the ride. Yeah, and he easily surrenders and hands off Daeron. That's Alicent and Viserys' younger son. He's about, I think if I got my math correctly, he's about the age of Jace. I think, if I don't know, have it off my head, but he's about around Jace's age compared to the other three. But yes, surrendered him, no problem. Well, there you go. But you find out later of the episode that just there's something fishy about it. He doesn't speak at all. It don't matter if Daemon tells him you have to speak to the queen, he doesn't. And you see that throughout the episode. At the end of the episode, you find out that he is not the real Daeron. So that's what the fuck moment is. Who's Daeron? Where's Daeron? I have a feeling that he was there because of the fact that his dragon was there. I think he's the little brown-headed, reddish hair color, like what Alicent's hair color is. I think it was him. Yeah, it's very interesting. They use that as a spy thing. And yeah, I have a bigger question is, because we've seen it in I don't remember if it was this episode or the last episode. I'm going back and forth. I think it's this episode, is that Alicent sends a letter to him, the Omar dude. So it makes you wonder. I will probably do a separate video just to have that theory in mind and stuff like that. But yeah, I swear, when Rhaenyra brought Alicent in, that look, she's like, oh, that's not my son. Yeah, and it also was another fact that Rhaenyra did point out that she hasn't seen him for so long, so she probably had not recognized him, because if you think of it, it's been almost 10 years. If I got my timeline right, it has to be close to 10 years. So yeah, I don't know, but it's just we not have seen this character so far. We have heard of it, but not seen him actually. But I thought that was freaking unreal and craziness. The other ones stand out when these people come up and ask this Rhaenyra about once incidents about somebody says the homeless isn't getting treated the best, but the rich gets everything. And it comes to the dinner and stuff. I thought that was batshit crazy because you go around, you seen in the episode with Rainier tripping over rats. There was rats in the throne thing, and I thought this was crazy that Rainier serves the richest rats and turns around and gives poor some food, better food requirement, whatever. And I thought, what the fuck? But I mean, like I said, Rhaenyra has to pick her battles. I thought that was a crazy thing. We see a lot of moments with Rhaenyra and Alicent and talking and stuff. And Alicent does mention that you have to be under control of stuff because it will be a disaster. Yeah, it's just like Rhaenyra says I can handle it and stuff like that. And Alicent's like, yeah, that's what you think, but it can get worse than what it is all about. And I get to the point where she's getting at because how that Rhaenyra hasn't been around because of the time jump they had of how much Otto, Hightower, Alice, and all them of King's Landing for so long. And then having with Rhaenyra never had this practice and stuff since she was heir dad and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, it does take a big responsibility to be a queen. So, and you also see, I thought this would be interesting. It would be, you could tell in this episode that Rhaenyra has a mad queen vibe-ish, and that would be interesting to see going down that story arc and stuff. Yeah, and we see Corla and Rhaenyra has this dinner with Al and Adam, and we know for a fact that they're his son from someone else, and Corlon has put it down Rhaenyra's throat, saying, "Oh, make them legit, blah blah blah." This, yeah, I mean, he throws up the fact about Jace and Luke and Joffrey about them being, you know what? Yeah, I get to the point where he's getting at, but at the same time, I can see the point of view with Rhaenyra is that if I legit your two boys as legit sons for you, what they think about, because Joffrey's the only living out of the three boys. It's a situation that it will be different. But I just didn't like the fact that he threw them up, especially with Jace just died and stuff. Yeah, I understand, like, he wants it to I was like, dude, now thinking of it, I think he should have had hold off because that's just more pressure on Rhaenyra because of everything going on and not having that on top of it. Like she said, pretty much she's saying hold off all that crap. He kind of just he pissed me off. Like, now you have knowledge that these two boys is yours after so how many years they've been of the knowledge of them. I know his wife, Corliss' wife, she knowed about it, but I mean, that situation